Yo, what's good, my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned with yet another JJK Phantom Parade video. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the influx of content lately, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying this hidden inventory celebration. Today I'm actually going to be retouching on who you should be picking up as your Phantom Metal shop units, or rather what is your Phantom Metal priority and whatnot, because now that we have a new Phantom Metal shop character, I think that it does very much matter who we are looking at for our Phantom Metal shop characters. And even though I'm on the global version right now, that does not matter. I still have information on the unit for the Japanese version. But if you like these kind of videos where the dead man forgets to turn on his lights before the video, then you can go down below, you can leave a like on the video, you can subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the dead man decides to glide. And you can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know. But we're going to jump over to the Phantom Metal shop, and we're going to go ahead and start talking about the units that you should be picking up and the units you should be leaving. So guys, I actually am here at the Phantom Metal shop, and it may seem kind of obvious what your priority should be based off of who I have duped out and who I do not. But not as clear as you think. It is a little misleading for sure. But before we even get into this, I want to go ahead and talk about Dagon, who is not here on the global version just yet. He should be here probably next month, if not the month after, because he just came to the JP version after their celebration that just went by, and literally the celebration that just went by is our celebration right now. So let me read Dagon's kit real quick. Spoiler alert, I heard that he blows dicks. I'm not sure if that's true, but we're gonna read it and figure out. Alright guys, so here goes Dagon's kit in full color, and I'm gonna start with the passive actually. It's right here. Okay. Auto skill, the essence of curses. Grants curse energy recovery to self one time, cannot be stacked. Okay. Grants ultimate skill gauge recovery to self one time, cannot be stacked. And that's at the start of the battle. So I guess he gives himself extra curse energy and skill gauge, or ultimate gauge at the start of the battle. Okay. If on HP is 40% or below and curse energy recovery is activated at the start of turn. Oh, I guess these are going to be like buffs that are going to be on him at the start. I see. If on HP is 40% or below and cursed energy is activated at the start of the turn, recovers on cursed energy by 20 without a maximum cursed energy cap. Decreases own damage received by 20% for 3 turns. 3 turns isn't bad. Recovers on HP by 10% per turn for 3 turns, and then removes cursed energy recovery. If on HP is 40% or below, ultimate skill gauge is not filled up, and ultimate skill gauge recovery is activated at the start of turn. Fills own ultimate skill gauge by 1000. Remove ultimate skill gauge recovery. So pretty much once it gets below 40%, he has instant, just like ult, instant damage reduction, instant HP recovery, instant cursed energy. But these numbers are so low, something tells me that's not as impressive as it seems. Let's go up and look at some of his damage numbers. Skill 1 is called Kick. Deals 150% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, and when inside of the domain, changes to Death Swarm when inside the domain. So instead of just 150% melee taijutsu damage to a selected enemy, 300% range jujutsu damage to all enemies, 5 hits. Recovers on cursed energy by 10 without maximum cursed energy cap. Okay. Skill 2, defense from water. Increases own jujutsu stat by 25% for 3 turns. Decreases own damage received by 20% for 3 turns. Increases on ultimate gauge charging rate by 30% for 3 turns. Changes into Death Swarm 2 when in domain Horizon of the Captivating Skanda. So it changes to increases on jujutsu stat by 25%, which is the same actually. Increases on damage received by 20%. He loses the damage reduction, and then he deals 400% range jujutsu damage to all enemies, and then increases all enemies damage received by 10%. Oh, I see why he sucks. Let me finish reading up. Deals 200% range jujutsu damage to all enemies. Stops all enemies. Action chance 20%, 2 turns 1 time. Increases all enemies damage received by 10% for 2 turns. When he goes into his domain, it's 360% damage instead. Stop all enemy action chance doesn't change at all. Increases all enemies damage received by 10% for 3 turns instead of 2 turns. Inflicts 1 stack of 25% continuous damage. So before even reading his ultimate, the reason why this Dagon sucks is because he only has 1 DOT skill so far that I'm seeing. All of his debuffs and buffs are very minimal, very low. Like this chance to stun an enemy is very small. He also goes into his domain and tries to turn into a DPS, when in all reality, I think what I would have preferred, or what people would have preferred, is it makes sense for the DOT to come into play whenever the domain comes out, because that's just how his thing works actually. But at the same time, if it was just going to be DOT on one skill or DOT on one half of his kit, I would have preferred not the DOT at all, and I would have preferred to just focus on the tankiness of the character and then made him even tankier when he goes inside of the domain, to where like the domain maybe attracts attacks to himself and he has a counter with the Death Swarm or something like that. I don't know. I feel like they could have constructed this dude a little bit better. Ultimate. Domain, obviously 6 turns, which sucks because your domain can't be filled for 4 turns. If your domain is 6 turns, then that dude, what? And then who else just came out with a 5-turn domain? Somebody's domain just got increased to 5 turns. It was one of the latest SP buffs, wasn't it? It was, who was the latest SP buffs? Yuji, Kamo, Junpei. None of them have domains. Somebody has a 5-turn domain. Maybe it's like one of the most recent domain characters, but somebody has 5 domains. Or maybe it's Jogo. Whenever you SP buff him, his domain turns 5 turns. Yeah, I don't know how much I like that. Like domains being more than 4 turns. Grants guarantee hit effect, attack immunity nullification, decreases damage received by 35%, increases Jujutsu stat by 40%, unable to fill on ultimate gauge. So what this should have been was decreases on damage received by 35%, increases all allies damage received, or decreases all allies damage received by 20% for like 4 turns or some shit like that. Yeah, nah, they should have just made him, they should have just gone all out tank with him, made him a survivability type of thing, I think, in my opinion. Domain effect, all enemies. Increases damage received by 10%, inflicts 5%, 5 stacks of 40% continuous damage from the domain, 20% additional damage with each stack. So they try to do the Sukuna thing, but he doesn't have things all over his kit to stack it out. Don't like that. Deals 800% damage when performing the ultimate. Range Jujutsu damage to all enemies. Recovers own cursed energy by 40, and then depletes own cursed energy after his domain deactivates. Combo ultimate. Deals ranged mixed damage of 64% taijutsu and jujutsu to selected enemy. This may be bugged due to ultimate damage being AoE, which is not possible to select the enemy. Increases own and combo allies jujutsu stat by 20% for 4 turns, and then fills own and combo allies ultimate skill gauge by 110. Yeah, Dagon seems very choppy, very weirdly put together. I feel like sometimes when they make units in this game, they try to focus on a bunch of different stuff. Like they're just like, I want this unit to do everything, and I'm just like, yo, just focus on making units do one thing exceptionally well, and then when you figure out how to make units do one thing exceptionally well, you'll figure out how to consolidate their kit in a way that it's one part of their kit doing the thing exceptionally well, and then you can start adding on extra stuff. But just adding a bunch of random hodgepodge stuff here and there is not gonna get you the W. Either way, Dagon doesn't sound like absolutely as bad as he seemed like everybody was making him seem, but he still doesn't seem like he's going to be too much to write home about. So the number 1 character you should be buying from the Phantom Metal shop, first and foremost, is Mahito. Mahito is going to help you with majority of the game in the first like core of the game, your first season of the game, I guess you could say, right? Because Mahito's damage is based off of Mahito's damage, right? You don't care anything about this. You obviously just want to level up this skill right here, because this skill is going to give him more ultimate gauge whenever he does it, the higher the level it is. No, it just increases his let's see what. No, it doesn't even increase. So this skill, you don't even gotta worry about it. Like Mahito is the easiest free-to-play character ever to pick up, right? Because he doesn't deal extra damage on his ultimate with his with leveling it up. Like you could literally buy Mahito, get him to max level, not work on any of his skills, and he will be essentially just as effective, because you just need his ultimate, because his ultimate does damage based off of the enemy's HP. You just need this skill right here, because this skill lets him rush his ultimate. And apparently leveling up the skill doesn't even boost how fast the ultimate is getting rushed. So quite literally don't even need to level up the skills on Mahito. You could just pick them up and use them if you wanted to. Now mine is A2. I definitely do regret that now. I want him to have extra cursed energy, but then when I realized by the time you get into Mahito's domain, you're not killing enemies with like some crazy big attack, I realized the extra cursed energy doesn't really matter that much. But also it's just kind of like, where else would I have used the extra 3,000 Phantom Metals? I don't need any extra copies of Hanami. I don't need any extra copies of Jogo, or I guess I do now, but that is me personally. I think that the second character that you should be trying to pick up from the Phantom Metal shop is probably going to be Hanami. Just okay. Phantom Metals are a free-to-play system in this game. So when I think about how you should pick up these characters, I think about it from the perspective of a free-to-play player, and not the perspective of somebody who's just spending money willy-nilly. And when I think about it from the perspective of free-to-play players, I say that Mahito certainly gives you way more clears than anybody in this shop, and it is no competition, hands down. The second character who's going to give you a few clears is literally just going to be Hanami. That's just literal statistics, literal facts. The character in this shop right now who's going to give you the most clears across your account, Mahito. Second, Hanami. So that means that those two are the first and second place characters that you should be picking up. Now, as you can see here, my Hanami has no extra dupes or anything, which is cool. Hanami does what Hanami does at base level. Now, I will say it would be nice if I had extra dupes just for this skill right here, because this skill costs 35 curse energy. That's the only reason why I would maybe want extra dupes. But like, my uses of her were so small, so little, so few that I just don't feel like I'm justified in getting more dupes for her. Now, maybe afterwards, you know, okay, in the future, you know, Deadman's already got A5, Mahito, and Jogo, and I already have Dagon. You know, am I going back and A5ing every single Phantom Metal Shop character because I can? Might as well, I can, right? But I mean, like, I think that Mahito is fine at A0 right now. I think Hanami is fine at A0 right now. And I think they're going to get your account really far. But other than what they did for me in the very early stages of my account, once my character roster actually got more filled out, more developed, I didn't really need them anymore, if not at all, right? But everybody's account doesn't look like mine. Everybody is not going to be as absolutely stacked out with their characters. So these two characters, you might need more dupes on them. Out of the two of them, probably, like I'm saying, bro, probably Hanami at this point. I mean, like Mahito, like I said, you don't need the extra dupes. None of his damage is based off of any of his own stats, like, or any of the damage you're trying to do. Mahito is the kind of character that you put in the back line, and then whenever everybody else is dead in the front line, or not even dead in the front line, but like one person dies in the front line, he comes out, and then you spam his domain, and you keep using his domain, and you take it damage based off of the enemy's HP anyway. So if it's based off of the enemy's HP, Mahito's actual power itself does not matter. If the skill gives you 270 ultimate gauge every time you use it anyway, and the skill makes you evade, doesn't really matter. Mahito doesn't need the dupes. Not to say that he's not more worth the dupes, because he won't do more for you. He just literally does not need them. They're extra stats for sure, and then you could try to make an argument for Mahito being like the crazy damage dealer, blah 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 blah. But like, if you're just going based off of like getting the extra stats, pretty much ensures that this skill and this skill hit harder. That's pretty much what the extra stats are going to do for you, and the skill too whenever you're inside the domain. But like, that's it. That is like it. Hanami, again, doesn't really need anything extra outside of the first copy. If you want to obviously upgrade the domain, if you want to get the extra dupes to get this, to get yourself at starting cursed energy, my initial cursed energy is 45 with Hanami, but that's because I did the SP buffs and everything. If you want to get the extra dupes to put it at 55, you know, with the SP buff as well, then all of a sudden, you know, you got 55 cursed energy starting out with Hanami. You use 35 of it, you only have 20, and then you go into the next turn, you only have 30. So it's just like, it's like basically impossible to use this skill back to back 2 times unless you are using some turn to load up your cursed energy, or you're using a special recollection bit for it. Jogo is third priority just because even though his damage isn't going to clear anybody like Sukuna, he still has good damage in general. And if you are willing to invest enough in him, then you could probably get his damage comparable to Sukuna. Maybe, let's see. This is, his domain does 800% ranged damage of his curse technique, and Sukuna's deal is like 1700. And even with the SP buff, like, yeah, he's just not, well, this is with the SP buff actually. So yeah, like Jogo's probably just not getting there, probably just not touching them levels. But even still, he'd probably be a really solid backup DPS, especially because not only is he the backup DPS, not only does he have good damage as well, but also he is contributing to the DOT. So he is the backup DOT in the sense that, like, yes, Sukuna's already doing big damage, Sukuna's already doing crazy DOTs, but like, this man Jogo is literally backup damage for this man everywhere. Like, the actual direct damage, the actual DOT damage, like, you're just a lot of damage everywhere. And I'm shooting to get mine to A5 just so I can see what his damage looks like at that level. But my Sukuna is A5, so literally my Sukuna is just it's gonna eclipse this man 1,000,000,000% always. And then, guys, obviously number 4th priority for the coin shop is the one who I didn't even bother to go into the JP version to show his face because he's that bad. Dagon, he's not that bad, but like, I just think out of everything that I explained right here, I think even with Dagon in the shop, Mahito's still gonna be the most valuable, Hanami's still gonna be second, Jogo's probably gonna have better damage, And like I said, Dagon has a lot of random little quirky parts of his kit. And honestly, the only thing that's going to save Dagon is either an adjustment or an SP buff. And since he just came out, I don't imagine either one of those things is coming too soon. And, you know, those kind of things are coming for these too much sooner for sure. So, and I don't know, maybe they could SP buff Mahito and make it so that his actual damage is somewhat scaling off of his actual Jujutsu stat along with the enemy HP. Then all of a sudden that gives you a change in priority for dupes, right? But other than that, yeah, that's all I had to really say. Mahito first, Hanami second, Jogo third, and then Dagon fourth, which is really funny because Jogo getting an SP buff and Dagon releasing has quite literally not changed the priority order of the free-to-play shop units at all. Have you noticed that, chat? But if you did notice that, you can go down below, you can leave a like, you can subscribe, hit the notification bell, and get notified every single time the dead man decides to glide. And you can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know. But that's going to be it for your boy DEADMANVINCE. I hope that you guys did enjoy the video, and I hope that this was helpful to you in some way, shape, form, or capacity. Do not waste your Phantom Metals because, man, oh man, even though I have all these dupes of characters, that took a very long time to get. I've been playing this game for 271 days. And also I've paid for Phantom Metals here and there at a random few times too. So believe me when I tell you that Phantom Metals are they're an easy grind, yes, but they're no quick grind at all. So definitely make sure you're not wasting your Phantom Metals. But that's gonna be it for your boy DEADMANVINCE. Remember, the dead man does love ya. Magic Knights, y'all have an excellent, wonderful day. Peace.